You think I might have an opinion on this movie? Ooh, a similar shade of blue. See how that works out. So, full disclaimer, that title is probably the most clickbaity title I've ever made. This video is going to be mostly about BASEketball. It's going to be somewhat about comedy and why it's a trickier genre of film to defend than others. And there'll be a little smidge of my opinion on Nosferatu. So I get it, clickbait's bad, but I'm sorry, I just think it's really funny.
Yeah, that's a sweet idea.
You lied to me! Again!
Fair enough. It's a misleading title, but it makes me laugh. And that's what matters. Now, if you're like my girlfriend and all you need is the intense 1-minute experience, here's a summary for the whole video. BASEketball, hilarious, loved it. Nosferatu, disappointing to me, didn't love it. And comedy, interesting to defend as a film genre, because it is both easier and more difficult. Because the only thing that really matters is it funny? Does it make you laugh? Alright, let's get into it. I didn't like Nosferatu. Which is a big bummer, because I really love Robert Eggers' other movies, especially The Witch. That movie's the best. Oh, The Northman's pretty good. Anyway, I love his other movies. I walked into the theater, I was so pumped for it, and I just left feeling pretty disappointed.
Oh.
But as I said earlier, this video is not about Nosferatu, so why do I keep bringing it up? Imagine that I am arguing with a friend who loved Nosferatu. They could pretty easily defend their position. The movie is beautifully shot, the atmosphere is present and foreboding, the use of natural lighting is an impressive achievement, and whether or not you think that the writing does a service or a disservice, the actors, for the most part, are splendid. All art is subjective, but the points I just made, I imagine, are pretty universally agreed upon. Now, my friend could make some subjective arguments as well, things that I might not necessarily agree with. Just for example, perhaps they found Orlok's design and voice really captivating, and in no way did it remind them of Dr. Robotnik.
Did you miss me?
And I could say, well, the characters were weak, I cared for none of them, and in Coppola's Dracula, not only did I root more for Dracula, but I found the side suitor characters more endearing than any of them in this film. And we could continue this argument long into the night until we were both sweaty and exhausted and more than a little turned on.
You're fond of me, lobster.
But what if me and this hypothetical friend, only kind I have, what if we were talking about BASEketball? I think it's hilarious. I didn't laugh once. What do you say to that? You know, how do you defend a comedy?
I got nothing.
You know, I used to work at a dive bar. And the age clientele was very diverse. A lot of really old people, a lot of really young people, big gaps in between. And you kind of see this comedy film argument play out from time to time. A Shot in the Dark, now that's a funny movie. No, I never liked it. Life of Brian though, that's a great film. What about Stripes? No, dude, that movie's boring. American Pie 2, now that's where it's at. No movie will ever be funnier than Tropic Thunder. No, you folks are all wrong because it's 2025 and a great comedy is harder to find than an affordable carton of eggs.
Did you take one of my eggs?
So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna try and defend BASEketball. I'm just gonna explain why I love it. You know, like a lawyer in a crappy kids movie, I won't use a real defense, I'll just have prettyish words, and hopefully that'll be enough to convince somebody. Maybe even its stars.
This is about being able to hold bad filmmakers responsible. This is just like when we got our money back for BASEketball.
I love the chemistry between Parker, Stone, and Bakar. Now, being friends in real life obviously helps, but more than that, they're likable, and that's not always a given in these types of movies.
Nobody lied to me.
I love that I know so many dudes who played some version of this game when they were in school. Our psych-outs weren't as creative, they usually just devolved into coital acts described of various combinations of family members.
Don't you say anything.
It's weird, stuff like that was so funny back then. It'd be like, oh, I banged your mom, and we'd be like, ah, I got him. And now someone could come up to me and be like, ah, I banged your mom, and I'd be like, good. She probably needs it. I love that Al Michaels, the guy who made the Miracle on Ice call.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles?
also said this.
Hard to believe that just 5 years ago, this game was played only on driveways.
And it's hard to believe just 5 years ago, those girls were only in grade school.
That just makes me really happy. He's great in this movie, by the way. Like, he has so many funny moments.
Coop makes it, the Bears win the cup, and get to keep the team.
Or he misses.
I can't do that. I love that when there has to be like a boring plot conversation, they have lots of interesting things in the background to keep it funny. I'm gonna stop doing the hand thing. I love the density of the jokes in most scenes. Like, for example, let's check out this sequence.
Your bed's over here.
Dude, that is so fucking weak. How am I supposed to get a chick in that?
No, don't worry, dude. You couldn't get a chick if you had a $100 bill hanging out of your zipper.
Yeah, I could.
No, dude, you're a little bitch.
I am not. I don't even know why I hang out with you guys.
Because you're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch. Sure.
God damn it, man. I swear you guys rip on me 13 or 14 more times, I'm out of here.
That is like 6 jokes in 15 seconds. And this movie's hit ratio, it's not as high as other movies, but the nice thing about this Gatling gun approach is that it doesn't have to be. You know, movies like this or Walk Hard or Spaceballs, you know, they're great because even if I find a joke to be a dud, I know I don't have to wait that long for the next one.
This was a particularly bad case of somebody being cut in half.
Now, out of curiosity, because I had to rewatch the movie for this video, this time I decided to count the number of instances where I either laughed or chuckled. Here's the results. That's like 58 laughs, or a laugh every minute and 40 seconds. So again, maybe only half of the jokes work, but because of the density of them, I still feel like I got my money's worth. Or in this case, time's worth, because I own the fucking thing. Maybe I'm just a sucker for Zucker. You know, most older comedies don't work for me, but Airplane and The Naked Gun, I think those movies are just as funny, if not funnier, than anything made in the 2000s.
2 more minutes. They could be miles off course. That's impossible. They're on instruments.
Silly visual puns, you know, that just might be my jam. Now, there are some things I don't like, topical jokes being one of them.
I don't know, but he's 1 for 11 and he smells like Christian Slater.
I hate topical jokes with the fiery passion of a chlamydia-infected son. I've never liked them, it doesn't matter when they're made, and what's worse than them not being funny is that you know that they aren't going to age well.
What's the one thing that you want more than anything else in the world?
Chelsea Clinton?
Jokes are like child stars, okay? You don't know which ones are gonna age gracefully, and that's fine. You know, maybe a guy falling off a ladder, it'll always be funny. And maybe a movie like Soul Man, for some inexplicable reason, it's not gonna age well with people.
Mom, Dad, I'm black.
What? Topical jokes are the worst because you know that in 20 years or 40 or 50 years, nobody is going to know who Chelsea Clinton is. Or that Christian Slater had a drinking problem. Whereas something like this...
Dude, why don't you give it up? She doesn't even like you. Oh, and you think she has the hots for you? Shit, Squeak here has a better chance with her than you do.
Hey, you think?
That's low, you son of a bitch.
What? Why is that low?
A day may come when that is not funny. But it is not this day. Some other things that are bad about the movie, outside of the creativity of the BASEketball game itself, it's a very generic sports film. I don't care about the romance. I don't care about the kids. The music is fine. You know, it was made in 3 months when ska was popular. And the cinematography is fine. And none of that matters. That's the magic of comedy. Every other aspect can be mediocre, but if it makes you laugh, then that's a win. Lighting, acting, music, direction, story, especially story, editing, none of it matters. They can all suck. Maybe not editing. If you have bad editing, that might be pretty hard, but it's theoretically doable. And don't get me wrong, all those things I just listed, if they're strong, that's great, you know, and it's probably more likely to get a laugh out of you, but they're not essential. And you can't say that about most other genres of film. Maybe horror.
Horror!
Maybe. Hello everyone, I'm currently editing this video and I realized I forgot to talk about something. So many of BASEketball's best jokes I didn't put in this video, either because they were too long or I didn't want their comedic impact to be weakened because you didn't have proper context. But I cannot in good conscience finish this review without giving credit to my favorite scene. At the end of the movie, Coop and Reamer are fighting, their squabble potentially costing them the championship game, when Squeak Scolari makes the obligatory sports movie speech that will allow for their reconciliation and make way for the inevitable Beers' victory. Now, there are two reasons I love this. The first, simply, is that he makes the speech dressed as a giant goddamn pineapple. That just makes me chuckle. I especially like when they lower the microphone. The second is the performance. Dean Picard puts 110% into this performance, regardless of the movie that he's in. Kind of like Michael Caine in Muppet Christmas Carol.
If we can't be friends, then the heart and soul are out of this game. Certainly out of me. And I know I'll never get that back again.
It's like he's trying to win an Oscar in BASEketball, dressed in a giant pineapple suit.
I'm begging you, for the love of our Caribbean brothers, dudes, stop this madness!
I just had to give this scene some love. BASEketball is like my crappy, clickbaity title. You know, it might be terrible. You might not like it. But it makes me laugh. And that's what matters. Now, to end this video, here's another thing I laugh at that nobody else seems to find funny.
Herr Kommandant! I'm only trying to...
Well, wrong clip. Not the intended clip. Here's what I meant to play. Thanks for watching.
You know, you ever hear of steampunk?
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Well, there's a joke for you.
I wouldn't call myself a fan of steampunk, but I will say it's the healthiest way to prepare punk.